This is Wapio. Hope you're doing well today. We've got some really exciting news from the Matrona that I think you'll be interested in. We're launching a new program. It's called our Professional Childbirth Consultant Program, and I'm here to tell you about it. All right? So let me preface this by saying that at the Matrona, we have kept pace with what's going on in the childbirth continuum. We have been watching what's going on with midwifery. We've seen the rise of doulas over the past 15 years, all right, that we've been here. And what I've noticed is that there is a gap right now that needs to be filled. So what we've done here is we've defined it and we've created it, all right? Let me explain. One of the things that we've noticed, first of all, is that families, women and families, are asking for more. In my 30 years of midwifery and in my 15 years of teaching and holding space with the Matrona, I have seen women, families coming into their power, becoming more conscious around birth, which is what we're all hoping for, all right? And part of that consciousness translates as women want to be more self-directed. Mentoring, not so much managing, all right? Collaborating, not so much being directed. Consulted with themselves rather than being prescribed to. See? So, with that, all right, over the years, I have also seen many women rise to fill those needs. Many women come into the ranks of birth attendants and doulaship and midwifery. And these women, my experience is that these women are wise, knowledgeable, powerful, have something very unique that they want to offer families who are heading in this new evolutionary direction of birth. Okay, here's another thing that I have seen. Many women, especially a lot of the women who graduate from the Matrona actually, there's this place where it's very nebulous. They don't know where they stand. I'm not actually a doula because I have more to offer, all right, than the vocation of doulaship really allows. And yet the call to midwifery it's not something that I want to answer because actually I'm not in alignment with the very clinical medical impositions of the new midwifery. So where am I in this? Okay? That's the gap. This is what we're defining. The professional childbirth consultant. All right? This is you ready to be of service, all right, to women and families from the get-go. From preconception all the way through the postpartum into family planning. You are a professional childbirth consultant. When people think of you, what they think is you are synonymous with the whole continuum of birth, all right? So, what we've decided to do is to make this a really solid program. Something that you might have to work really hard to achieve this certification, all right? It's hard work, but will allow you to, at the completion of this program, allow you to immediately engage in the birthing community and have a place in birth advocacy, all right, and natural women's health, education of women, mediation, consulting. You are a consultant. All right, so here's what we're offering. A 600-hour program. It's going to be on site in Portland, Oregon. It is going to start in January 21st. You will graduate in June 26th. So from January to June, 600 hours. 500 of those hours are classroom hours, and then the other 100 are video hours. What you are going to get from this program being on site is the component of mentorship, classroom activity, hands-on experiences, and just the whole intimacy of group dynamic. We're going to gather, we're going to spend 5 months, 5+ months engaged in birth work, all right? So, at the end of this program, upon graduation and successful completion, you will receive a certificate as a certified professional childbirth consultant. All right? What are you going to do with that? Well, what are the other certificates that you will receive that enhance and focus what you're doing? First of all, you'll receive a complete matrona midwifery education. All right? You will receive an associate's degree in midwifery from the matrona. The complete basic entry-level education that we have for our midwifery program, our on-site midwifery programs. Why? Because how can you consult with families, women and families, if you don't know the whole core experience of birth, if you don't know what birth is all about, if you don't have the education, all right, that your colleagues have. Yes, I realize in 5 months you are not going to be educated as a doctor, but that's not what you are, all right? In 5 months, you will have a basic midwifery education and a degree in that, all right? From which is your base of consulting, okay? And in that basic midwifery education, you will have the didactic components, all right? As well as what you would expect from the matrona, blending together the didactic, the academic, with the intuitive. All right, so that will all be part of your education. You will also receive a certificate as a childbirth educator. You'll be a certified childbirth educator. And during the course of this program, you will be given lots of material. You'll be given a childbirth ed class template, but you will also be free to take that template and mold it to your style of teaching and your experiences there. All right, so you're coming out of this program as a childbirth educator, ready to engage the community. You will also receive a certificate in mediation. Over the years, I have realized that one of the greatest skills that I can bring to a birthing family is conflict resolution and peacekeeping skills. So, I have been a community mediator. When I became a midwife, I made it my business to take all kinds of mediation classes. Couples mediation, workplace mediation, anger mediation, large group mediation. Why? Because if we can help people communicate and hear each other, listen and hear each other, I think that goes a long, long way toward preventing complications. So, mediation has always been a very important part of the matrona education, and you will come forth from this class as a certified matrona mediator. All right? You will also receive your advanced doula certificate. A midwifery certificate, but you'll have an advanced doula certificate as well, so that you can once again immediately engage the community as a doula. All right? You will also receive a certificate in natural woman care consulting. We will, in this program, have a strong herbal and natural medicine component, and as a consultant, you will be able to use your knowledge of, once again, herbs and natural medicines to consult with women. So you'll have those certificates, those 5 certificates: midwifery, childbirth ed, mediation, advanced doula, and natural woman care consulting. Meaning that here you go, you're ready to engage the community. All right, and you have the advantage of being able to engage the childbirth community at the beginning of a pregnancy, rather than, as with many doulas, way toward the end. No, you are the person. We will even have a section on preconception and fertility awareness. All right, we're looking at everything. We want you to be the consummate consultant. So here's how our 600 hours will unfold. All right, you will have with me 6 4-day weekends, Thursday through Sunday. All right, 1 a month. And we'll start off the whole class with our first 4-day weekend on January 21st. All right. And that's going to lay down a lot of your basic midwifery education. In the 3-week hiatus between the times that I am there in Portland with you, you will have classes each week, 3-day blocks. You'll have class Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all day. And these classes will be taught by 2 of our senior teachers, Marina Hansen and Kendra Romer. Both Marina and Kendra are Materna grads. They have learned this information and they have lived it. Both of them have midwifery experience, mediation experience, doula experience in hospitals, homes, birthing centers. The collected wisdom of these women is anthropology, Ayurveda, yoga, massage. These women are excellent teachers and they are your on-site people. On Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. What's happening on these days, what you were looking for here, on these days, Marina and Kendra will review our lessons, all right? They will also be there as mentors and consultants for you. These are the days that you will practice your mediations, practice your childbirth education teaching. We want to give you a space so that when you graduate from this program, you will have had numerous hours in becoming comfortable, confident, competent with this work, so that when you engage in the community, it's not your first experience. You'll have had plenty of time to practice mediation, practice your teaching. All right, so this is part of it. We're also going to be teaching how to teach as well. And Marina and Kendra will be taking you through the herbal component of this program. What you'll be getting on those Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, once again, case studies in class. You'll have time for meaningful discussions. You know, at the Matrona, we go deep. We talk about our wounds. We talk about using power wisely. We talk about different models of care. We talk about transparency and truth. We have deep soul-level connections and this arena allows us to have them together so that you'll be comfortable and confident in having them with your clients. So all this will be happening Tuesday through Thursdays, all right? My weekends and the time you spend with Marina and Kendra will add up to about a little over 500 hours, and I will be sending you 4 hours of video of me teaching every week. Every week you'll have another 4 hours of video. So, the old ones say that we have to hear information, vital information, 7 times before it lands in our cellular matrix. That's our goal. I will teach it, Marina, Kendra will review it, then you'll have me whispering it again in your ear on video, then when you go to bed at night you can play it, and so on and so forth, so that you become comfortable and conversant with the material and how to language it, how to language this approach, which if you've been following the Matrona, you know is very different from the traditional, typical approach to childbirth. That, once again, many families are eschewing that approach in favor of looking for caregivers who allow more self-direction, allow more depth, truly understand the altered state nature of birth, that this is a transformation in consciousness, and are looking for someone, all right, who can affirm that and who can have their back as they go forth as a family in transformation, bringing life on the planet. So, this is a serious program, all right? You have to do the work. You can't consult if you don't know what you're talking about. So I'm giving you a midwifery education. We will also use textbooks. You will be required to read. We're using Fry, we're using Varney, all right? We expect you to know your material in order to claim your diplomas. We expect you to put in the hours. We expect you to be present in class. We expect you to move to Portland or at least be close by, all right, so that you can fully immerse in this program. We could have made it longer, but here's what I'm realizing also, that time is moving fast and we are moving fast as well. And that my thoughts are that what I have seen women want is an immersion, something, a concentrated, sort of a concentrated immersion in birth, all right, where you live, eat, sleep, read, think, feel, know birth for 5 months, all right, the childbirth continuum. Let's do that, all right. The cost of the program, I think, is incredibly nominal, and that is something that the Matrona has always tried to do, make our costs accessible. For a program of this nature, we are asking $5,400, and at the end of this program, you are immediately entering the birthing community. So come and join us. Do your work. Come with your loins girded, okay? This is 5 months dedicated and devoted to learning the childbirth continuum, experiencing it, practicing it, coming out of it, being able to talk about it, educate other people about it, consult with other families and women about birth. For my 4-day weekend, first weekend, let me just give you an idea of what we'll start with. On Thursday morning, we'll do our orientation, our logistics, and so on and so forth. We'll talk about the matrix of undisturbed birth. And we'll talk about birth as a model arena for acknowledging and affirming intuitive and instinctual responses. Yes, and then in the afternoon, we'll do a brief history of birth. We'll talk about the caregiver spiral. We'll get right into it. Who are your peers and your colleagues in this spiral that women and families have access to? We'll also talk about your scope of practice as a consultant. We'll constantly filter all of this midwifery information and all of this didactic and intuitive information into the, directing it into your role as a consultant, all right? We'll talk about facilitating transformation, because after all, that's what's happening. On Friday, we'll talk about models of care. All right, we're familiar with the technological and the humanistic and the holistic. Those are long gone. We're in the quantum, and the next one is already showing up on the horizon. Let's talk about this, all right? We're going to be talking about the endocrine system. We're going to be talking about the pineal gland, DMT, the nature of brain gating. Oh, this is good stuff. We will be talking about brainwave patterns. We'll go beyond the hormonal. All right, oxytocin. Yes, we have the bead on oxytocin. We have the tattoo. Let's now talk about the neurological perspective of what's going on with birth in brainwave states and altered states of consciousness. Let's get comfortable and conversant with the language of altered states so we know how to relate to women when they are in these altered states of childbirth. All right? We're also going to be talking about the pelvis, the bones, pelvimetry. We'll be talking about the estimated date of birth. We'll be talking about women as the ancestral sex. Did you know, this is a biological fact, that every woman has the complete component of genetic material in her ovaries, in each ovum, all right, to create life. I will be doing a class on that, all right, with Marina and Kendra, you will have a whole lot of follow-up discussion in the sense of what are the ramifications of realizing that we as women hold in the kernels of our ovaries the complete genetic component to create life. What are the ramifications of that? All right. So we'll also talk about woundology and the work of Carolyn Mace, whom I really admire. So that's just our first weekend. See? And I'll be glad to send you what we're doing with every weekend. Then, if that was our first weekend, let me give you an idea of some of the things then that Kendra and Marina will be doing with you during those 9 days in between. All right? We'll have a class on the Wise Woman tradition as articulated by Susan Weed. All right? This is a very important class because all case studies at the Matrona use the Wise Woman tradition as a template. Surely you know it. Do nothing, gather information, work with the energies, nourish and tone, stimulate and sedate, use biomeds, break and enter. What an amazing template for approaching healing, for problem solving, whether it's health or anything else. Whole class on the Wise Woman tradition. We'll do the circle of nurturing. We'll look at all 7 bodies. All right, you'll be doing this with Marina and Kendra. All 7 of our bodies: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, sexual, social, soul. And we'll look at how women like to be nurtured, how you like to be nurtured on all these different levels. And each of you will create a wheel of nurturing, and we'll show you how to implement that in your consulting practice. All right? We will review and enlarge a discussion on the estimated date of birth. This is a huge controversial topic right now, all right? And something that a childbirth consultant should be very conversant with. So we'll get you there. More on the endocrine system, more on brainwave states. Let's try some exercises for getting into different brainwave states, okay? This is what you'll be doing. More on the reproductive system, more on herbs for woman care. We'll be doing, here's a class, nurturing, nourishing, nutrition. That's our diet class. Let's start by looking at what these words mean. Nurturing, nourishing, nutrition, diet. All right? We'll revisit the pelvis, and we'll talk more about pelvimetry, and we'll demonstrate how a pelvic exam unfolds, why and how. All right? Woundology. We could never leave the hugely relevant topic of woundology with just one class. And in this one, the sky is the limit. Why? Once again, learning to identify our wounds, learning to heal them. Why? Because your clients will often bring wounds to your door. All right? So it's imperative that we address our wounds and not feed the wounds of our clients. Let's have some really in-depth discussion on this topic. This is a thread that will run throughout the 5 months, all right? We're going to talk about the caregiver spiral again. Meet your peers, all right? What I've written here is that some of our colleagues are valuable resources for women and family, and we're happy to know them and happy to refer them. Other of our colleagues tend to be overwhelming to families and perhaps not invested in truth and transparency. Okay? And we should be aware of this as well. Women are coming to you for consulting. All right? Know your peers. Many moms are looking to caregivers for support and validation. And what's happening? Sometimes what women are getting is risk screening and anxiety. You're a consultant here, okay? We're going to have endless discussions on how we relate to our colleagues and our peers. How do we uphold transparency and truth? And we will have some very basic stories about how do we receive stories and excavate them for what is true rather than just passing on hearsay, okay? So this is a very important class. critical in our consulting practices. And it's the reason many families will actually even consult with you and come to your door. They want to know what are the models of care that are available and who are the colleagues that are working together here to get me the birthing experience that I want. Give us your consulting opinion. All right? And then I thought we would have a wonderful class on Dr. Michelle O'Donnell, Birth Reborn, and Undisturbed Birth. Okay, these are just some sample classes. But let me read you this one. O'Donnell's philosophy and his research has really affected Matrona philosophy and approach. Okay, so we'll spend a class looking through his work, the scientification of love, The Farmer and the Obstetrician. If you haven't read that book yet, the concept is brilliant. What he's talking about here, and I think you'll really appreciate that, is that he is comparing what we have done to food in the sense that we have denatured it, we have refined it, we've added to it, we've taken its inherent vitality and purity away. He's comparing that to what we've done to birth. The Farmer and the Obstetrician. Both of them, all right, find themselves in this realm dealing with too many additives. Okay? So, we'll define what is undisturbed birth. Let me just cut to the chase right now. Undisturbed birth as we define it, and you know at the Matrona we are proponents of undisturbed birth. I'm not saying unassisted, even though it can be perfectly and relevant for you. We're talking about undisturbed birth, meaning simply this, that nothing comes between a woman's instinctive, intuitive response to her labor. Nothing comes between that. A woman and her instinctive response to her labor. All right? Now, how do we apply that? How do we practice in those realms? And you know, one of the reasons that we study O'Donnell is this, okay? He had a theory about this. Sounds like a theory, right? But he took it into practice, and he has given us the research and the practice. Here's a quote. In France, in the 70s, Dr. Michel O'Donnell laid the groundwork for physiologic birth when he refused to disturb mothers in labor. In his state-run hospital, he created a birthing ambiance for families that provided warmth, dark, privacy, silence, and safety. The result? Some of the lowest infant mortality rates, cesarean rates, episiotomy rates, and postpartum depression figures in the world. This is why we study O'Donnell. And this is very much undergirding the philosophy of the Matrona, the education that you will receive, and the threshold from which to become a professional childbirth consultant. I hope you join us. All right, this is for you. This is for families. This is for families who are looking for the new frontier. All right? And this is for you because you are going to provide that to families. Thanks for listening.